Okay, Liam, great to have you on. And this really is just about Newcastle United and Liam O'Brien and Kevin Keegan. So, first of all, how did your move to Newcastle United come about, Liam?
Well, I was playing for Manchester United at the time. I was on a week-to-week contract, and Alex Ferguson, who was obviously the manager at the time, offered me a new 2-year deal to stay at the club. And it was kind of financial reasons why I stayed on a week-to-week. The contract he offered me, I wasn't happy with. And you're only talking in them days, 100 quid. That was all it was, right? So he left me on a week-to-week contract from, I think it starts on the 1st of July, all the way up to October it was. October, November, and I was still on a week. I wouldn't sign it. And he decided, obviously, when you don't sign a contract, the managers tend to mess you about a little bit, but I just got my head down, was playing well in the reserves, and he knew I was doing so well that he put me back into the first team. We played against Wimbledon away, Everton, and we played Aston Villa. It was my last game at Old Trafford, and I got man of the match, and I'd done quite well in the game. And a few days later, Newcastle gave me a call and said, would you be willing to talk to us, because you're on a week-to-week contract, we can actually speak to you. And it would obviously go to a tribunal then. So I said, yeah, no problem. He said, what do you want to do? And I said, will you meet us between Newcastle and Manchester? Will you meet us in Leeds? So I got in the car and I met them in Leeds, and I had a good chat. It was Colin Suggett and Mick Martin were the caretakers at the time, and I forget who the chairman was then. But it was a few people met me would you believe, at a service station in Leeds, and they gave me a bit of security because my wife had just had her first child 2 or 3 weeks previous, so we'd no security, and I was getting a bit panicky at the time. But when Newcastle showed a little bit of interest and I met them, I was really happy with what they said to me, where they were, and I was willing to sign, and they offered me a 3-year contract, which was fantastic for myself and my family. So that's how it came about, and I signed the week after we played Aston Villa. Well, I played for Manchester United at Old Trafford. Yeah. So that's how it came about.
Who was your first manager?
The manager there at the time was Colin Suggett, but they knew Jim Smith was coming in at the time. Jim came in a couple of weeks later. I think they were just waiting for things to be ironed out with his contract and stuff. And he tried to sign me when he was at QPR, so he knew I was coming on board anyway. So then Jim came in and things kind of took off a little bit then.
Where were you training? Was it Benwell?
Yeah, Benwell. It wasn't the prettiest place in the world. The facilities were very basic there at Benwell. It was always windy. It was a summer stay when you get out of your house. When you get up to Benwell, it was just windy city, we used to call it. The pitches were very poor, and there wasn't that much there for us, but that was the times then for most clubs. I think the facilities weren't very good.
What was Jim Smith like as a manager?
Jim was very good. I actually enjoyed Jim. He knew the leagues, Jim was good. He's kind of old school, and he'd lose the head a little bit, and you'd see the red mist coming on him. But he knew the leagues, and he knew how to get us out of the league. And he's very close to doing that, and he signed some good players to try and get us out of that division. I know we got relegated the first year, but I mean, the second year when we nearly got through in the playoffs, unfortunately we got beaten by the gang across the road, unfortunately. But I did like the way Jim went about with his job and stuff, and he was quite good.
It didn't work out for Jim Smith, and Osvaldo Ardiles came into the club. How did you find the transition from Jim to Ozzy?
Oh, Ozzy was completely different fella altogether. He was so placid. He was a really nice guy, to be honest. He's a very humble, quiet man. But I felt a little bit sorry for Ozzy. I think the players loved playing for him. We played some attacking football, but defensively we were very poor. I mean, he had to get rid of the experienced players, Ozzy did, because I think he was told to cut the wage bill. So a lot of the experienced lads he let go, the likes of Roy Aitken and Mark McGee and a few of the other lads. And he had to kind of stick to what he was given there, which was the young, and he nurtured them young players, and who went on to be great players who were just a little bit too inexperienced at the time. The likes of Steve Watson, Lee Clark, Steve Howie, Robbie Elliott, Alan Thompson, another one who I was amazed the club let go, because he went on to have a fantastic career and he was a very, very good player. But Ozzy kind of nurtured them along, but they were two very young at the time, and as I say, very inexperienced. But they went on to become great players, and they were homegrown players as well. They came to be great players for the club and for their careers as well. So it was good to work for. I just felt a little bit sorry for him. He didn't get really the backing of the board. There was a boardroom struggle at the time, so he wasn't getting the funds that he needed to bring in the players he wanted to. I think he brought in David Kelly, which was probably the only, maybe two or three others, but it was difficult for him. But I think if you ask most of the players, they did enjoy working for him.
You're right about David Kelly. Did you realise that Osvaldo Ardiles actually paid to sign David Kelly? He actually gave the money to sign him.
I didn't realise that, but that'd be typical of him. I remember Ozzy asking me about David Kelly because I knew David through the international squads with the Ireland squads, and he asked me about him. Him and obviously Tony Galvin would have known David too. But and I said, yeah, he works very hard. He'd be a great signing for us. So I was delighted when he came on board because he done very, very well for us, as you all know.
Yeah, he did. Okay, so that sets out the the early part of your time at Newcastle. When did you first hear a rumour that Kevin Keegan could be coming to the club?
Well, when Ozzy obviously got sacked, everyone was disappointed, and then you hear rumours of different things, and we hear that Kevin Keegan is rumoured to come in, and if we're being honest, players were saying, Kevin Keegan, he's no experience in management. He'd only be a novice. Now, they knew he was a fantastic player. Great player, Ballon d'Or winner, England captain, England player, and great for Newcastle United. But as a manager, it was an absolute big gamble for the club to bring him in as manager. And it was a gamble for him to take the job because if it didn't work out for him, his reputation would have gone a little bit. So for him to come in, he was an icon. It was great. His man management was very, very good. He's very charismatic. He had that presence about him, and he had a vision for the club, Steve, and that was the good thing. He remember him sitting us down in Benwell and having a chat with us and saying, I'm starting with a clean slate, I'm going to give you all a chance, and I want this club. He loved the club, he loved the place. I think the whole city did need a lift, and with Sir John Hall bringing him in, I think it did give the whole city a lift because he was full of enthusiasm. He had his personality, he was very driven, and he wanted the club to do so well because he loved the club, as I said earlier, and that's what he wanted to do, and he gradually done that, slowly, but maybe quicker than he thought. But we had a big job to do because we were on our knees as a team at the time because we were really struggling, and we needed points badly to stay in that division. And him coming in obviously gave the whole city a lift. I remember the very first game against Bristol City. I was lucky enough to score. We won 3-0. I think it was 3-0. We won, and I think there was a full house and there was so many fans locked outside. They all wanted to get into the ground, but that just kicked on. After that, it was great. It was great for us, and as I said, he was brilliant with the players. He made you feel. He made you feel on top of the world. He was one of those managers that you wanted to play for.
What was a typical training session like with Kevin in those early days?
In the early days, a training session, well, to be honest with you, Derek Fazakli took most of the sessions at the time. Kevin didn't do that. He'd take a finishing session at the end of it, and he'd probably join in and stuff. But we might play a game, a shadow play or something like that, or a game against each other. But most of it, at the start, it was kind of Faz, Derek Fazakli, who took most of the sessions, and Kevin would. It wasn't mad, or he wouldn't be mad. None. It was just trying to. I tell you, it was typical of a manager to try and put confidence into the players to go out and to play well in training and do well in games, and that's what it was really. It was nothing mad off the scale training. It changed a bit. He just let Faz get on with it. To be honest with you.
Can you remember any of his team talks? Was he the kind of person who would come in and give a team talk?
The team talks would be, he more or less would want you to just go out, go out and express yourselves. He said, be confident. He wouldn't put any pressure on the players that we have to do this and we have to do that and we have to just go out and be confident, go and express yourself and go and entertain the fans, go and play. And he just gave you confidence that way. He wouldn't be in your face saying, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. Just go out and express yourself and enjoy the game.
Terry McDermott was his number 2, of course. I mean, what did Terry bring to the club?
Well, I think in any partnership you have to have good cop, bad cop, and Terry was one that was great with the lads, and he wouldn't put on a training session or anything, Terry, but he'd always be around, and he was like Terry. When you think about it, Terry McDermott was a fantastic player himself. Played for Liverpool, played for Newcastle, won so many trophies, European Cups and stuff, and caps for England. So he was a fantastic player. So he would know, especially midfield players where he played. He'd come over and have a chat with you, and talk to you about timing your runs, tuning in, and just putting little things into your ear that would make you think about the game a little bit more. No, he wasn't just a joker around the place. He did have a good interest in the players and the way they played, and how we'd help the team and win games. So I enjoyed Terry. I think he's a lovely guy, and I have a lot of time for him.
Kevin's arrival at the club obviously coincided with, as you say, there was a power struggle for the club going on with the Magpie Group who'd wrestled control of the club. But, the previous chairman, I think Gordon McKeag and George Forbes, who'd been involved as well, that, they hadn't left the club in a great financial position. And Newcastle were teetering on the brink of relegation to what was the old third division. Did Keegan's arrival give you all that kind of belief in yourselves that you could get out of that position?
Oh, yeah. I mean, as I said earlier on, he had a vision for this. So he didn't want that club to be going down. That's why they brought him in. And he had a vision. He gave belief to the players. And he had to bring in, obviously, when he took the job, he wasn't going to take it till I think he was promised some funds to strengthen the squad. And he brought in Brian Kilcline and Kevin Sheedy at the time, who were two brilliant players for us. Killer was great, very experienced, the two of them. Like Kevin Sheedy had won leagues with Everton, won a cup with Everton, international with Ireland. Killer won the cup with Coventry. So he's a good organiser. And they were really good signings, plus they were very good around the place with the young lads. And I think bringing in those two was a masterstroke for Kevin, really, because it did settle us a little bit. And lucky enough that he did bring them in because we needed them, really, because they had that experience. Plus they were winners, the two of them were. So it was good that he brought in that type of player at the start.
Yeah, and of course it went to the last game, didn't it, against Leicester City in 1992, down at the old Filbert Street. Thousands of Newcastle fans travelled down there as well. But that in itself was just a remarkable day. Newcastle winning 2-1.
Yeah, well, it's a game that we didn't, in the end, we didn't really need to win the game, but we didn't know that at the time. So it was great. I think we went 1-0 up. Gavin Peacock scored, and then they got a goal. And in the last minute or so, 2 or 3 minutes ago, whatever it was, I think it was what was his name? Steve Walsh, the captain, put an OG in, and it kind of cemented our place in the division, which is what we were out to do. So it was relief more than anything else that we stayed up. But I'll never forget that game and the fans coming onto the pitch and at the end and that. But it was great relief to say that, okay, now we can kick on after this. This won't happen to us again. I think that's what Kevin instilled into the players at the end of that game. He said, we went through an awful lot there, but we're after staying up, and this club won't go through that again. And it just kicked on after that, really.
Yeah, the following season, of course, Newcastle went on a wonderful run. Do you have memories of the start of that season, the pre-season?
Sorry, Stephen, I didn't hear you there. Say that again. Do
you have memories of the pre-season? I mean, what was the talk about promotion going into that season? Obviously,
no, there wasn't talk about promotion. It was about what he did. What he said at the end of the season before. He knew he needed to strengthen the squad. Right, and for any team to do well in any league or any division, you need good foundations. That means you need a good goalkeeper, a good back four, and to bring in the quality and the experience of Barry Venison, he brought in John Beresford, he brought in Paul Bracewell, and he converted Stephen Howie, which was a masterstroke, into a centre half, and he went on to play for England, and it was a fantastic player as a centre half. So he brought in good players. You could see the training went up another few gears. So the team were just told to express ourselves and be confident. So it was I can't really remember much about pre-season games, to be honest with you. But I remember, obviously, I was suspended for the first 3 games because the 3 of us got sent off against Derby County, if you remember, in the April. So we missed the first 3 games of the season. Well, I did anyway. So I had to wait for my chance to get back into the team. But you could see in training that everyone loved training and loved coming into training, that we were going to do better than we did the year before, put it that way.
I guess the most memorable game and probably the most memorable goal for you was in that 11 consecutive victories run when you got your place back in the team. We went to Roker Park, and tell us about that particular game and goal.
Okay. Well, obviously it's a derby game, as everyone knows, and you want to win the game just to get the bragging rights for the weekend. So we went. We won the first 10 games. That was our 11th game, and they were obviously shouting in the wings that they were going to stop us and all this stuff, that they won't beat us in our own patch, and we'll stop the rot, or we'll stop them winning 11 out of 11. So we went 1-0 up as an OG, I think they got, and then who scored for them at that time? But it was Armstrong, was it?
I think it was Armstrong, Gordon Armstrong, yeah.
Yeah, Gordon Armstrong scored. And we had a couple of chances. I think we were the better team on the day, but we had a couple of chances before, and then we got a free kick just outside the area. And I've been taking free kicks for the club, and I scored a couple of goals. And again, I always say, even when I became a coach, if you're confident enough when you get a free kick, if you're playing well enough and you want to take it, take it. But if you don't want to take it, give it to someone else. But I was enjoying the game, was doing quite well in the game, and we got the free kick, and I said, right, Grant, this is in my area now, I'll have a shot. But all of a sudden, I just heard a voice saying, I'm going to take this. I looked around, it was John Beresford, and I said to him in no uncertain terms, I don't think you are. No, I'm taking this. I've been nominated to take this. So he just said to me, where are you going to put it? And I said, I'm going to put it where the goalkeeper's standing. Hopefully he'll move. And if he moves and I hit it the way I want to hit it, I'll hit it. If I hit the target, we have a chance of scoring. And lucky enough, everything went well. I couldn't hit it any better. I got good connection on it over the wall and into the corner of the net, and I was just thrilled. And first and foremost, that we won it made us win the game. But it was only after it that I realised, a few of my pals said to me, you don't realise what you've done. I said, yeah, I've scored a winner today. He said, no, you won't be forgotten for that goal now, because we beating them in their own patch and you scored the winner. We'll always remember that. So, and to this day they still do. So it was a great feeling for myself.
That was fantastic, mate. And I think the best thing about that is the photograph of you just from the clock stand. You're the only person on the photograph who knows the goal is going in. You know the ball's going into the net, and you've got your hands up celebrating before anybody else realises.
Yeah, as soon as I hit it, I just knew it was going in straight away, and I put my hands up straight away. I seen that photograph, Steve. It's a fantastic photograph. I remember a guy sent it to me before, and he said, you're the only one that knows before everyone else, so it was a kind of a special photograph.
By Christmas, 17 wins in 23 games. Newcastle were 12 points clear of second place Tranmere. But in the new year, things did get a bit jittery. A run of 5 draws and 1 defeat led to the lead being gradually whittled away. But we did get back on track with a 3-0 win at Tranmere. And promotion was finally secured with a win at Grimsby, mate.
That's right. And unfortunately, I got injured for the last few games of the season. I got shin splints. Never had them before in my life, and never again since. And I don't know what happened. I was so much pain down the right side of my leg and the inside of my just between my calf and my foot. It was killing me. So I actually missed the last few games of the season. I remember even the boss Kevin saying to me, will you even come down and get on for 10 minutes of the last game? And I tried to train. I was just in so much agony. I couldn't. It was an injury that needed rest, so I had to kind of rest it for the summer. But I missed the game at Grimsby, because I never even travelled with the team that time because I missed the last few games. But it was great. Obviously seen the footage of it and stuff, and it was great to get promotion, and all the hard work we put in that season has paid off. And our main aim was to get promotion back to the Premier League, but to win the league in the style we did was a credit to all involved, the staff and the players. It was great.
Were you there for the 7-1 against Leicester?
Yeah, I was on the pitch that day. Yeah, I was. As I say, he wanted me to play in that game and play some part of it because I'd done so well from over the year. And he said it to me, which was brilliant from the manager to say that to you. He's still thinking about you, but I couldn't. I was just in so much agony. But I was there for all the celebrations. They got me medal that day, and all the celebrations after it, and the bus tour after it, and the fun we had after it. So it was all good. It was all good. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
33 appearances, 6 goals, I think, in that season. A pivotal player in that promotion season, mate. What was your favourite moment though? What was the best game you played in as a Newcastle player in your time under Kevin Keegan?
Under Kevin, the best game?
Yeah, for you personally.
For me, well, obviously it has to go to the one in Roker Park to win a derby game. I know I've played in other games and scored probably some better goals and stuff, but to go to Roker Park and to score against your main rival and score the winner is something that I'll never be forgotten about in my own eyes. And I probably have to put that up there just to get the winner and to get all the 3 points, and obviously to win the game was very important to me.
Is the best goal the one at Sunderland as well?
Oh, I don't know if it's the best goal I've scored. I was lucky enough to score some good goals. The one at Middlesbrough in the Cup was quite good as well. I scored a volley against Oxford, even though we got hammered. I never hit a ball as sweet in all my life from outside the box. I scored a goal against Sunderland the year before, which probably technically was a better goal than the free kick because I didn't have time to think. I had time to think about the free kick. Do you remember the one I chipped the keeper with? No?
Yeah, I do, mate, yeah.
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to score some really good goals for the club, but I suppose scoring the winner against them, it keeps going back to that game, but yeah, it was very special.
Who was the best player you played with at Newcastle?
At Newcastle? I didn't play with... I don't think I played with a few games with Peter Beardsley, even though he was brilliant and training, he was great. The most consistent players, there was 2 of them, the most consistent, the time I was there, that they were there, was Gavin Peacock and Robert Lee. I thought Gavin played really well in most games he played, and even in a poor side, he'd always kind of dig you out of a hole and get you a goal. I thought Gavin didn't get enough praise that he probably deserved, and Rob Lee, when he came in, was just one of the best I've seen. He got better and better as the years went
on. For you, how important were the fans at Newcastle?
The fans are always important, especially in Newcastle. I say to people here where I live here in Ireland, what's it like at Newcastle? I said, you have to live there to understand what it's about. It's like football is their religion. They're so passionate. It's like, and I know it's an old cliche, they're like the 12th man, but they really are, because they do get the team over the line. And when they're in full voice, there's no better stadium around anywhere with the way they get the team going and the way they're singing their songs before the game or during the game and help the team. So for me, they're probably the best fans I've ever come across. And I mean, and I don't mean that because I play for them, but a lot of people say it to me, and I really, really, truly believe it.
Who was your closest friend at Newcastle? Which player did you get on with the best?
To be honest with you, Steve, I got on with most of the players. I tried to get on with all of them, I know you're not going to get on with everybody, but most of them, like, we had great team spirit in all the teams that I played in. There was no one in particular that you say, there was no cliques, which was good. You don't have any cliques at any club. So most of the players kind of get on together, there was no really, those 2 are over there, all pally and pally, So I wouldn't say there was one particular friend that I'd hang around with mostly. I mean, Tommy Roy, who lived close by to me, we went out together a bit more because we were close by. But other than that, there was no one really. We all got on quite well, so I wouldn't really pinpoint anyone.
And just looking at the move away from Newcastle, how did the conversation go with Kevin when the time came to move on to Tranmere?
Yeah, look, that's football. We all know, he moved a lot of players on after his winning. I remember someone saying to me, you get promotion, you lose your job, some players, but that's not the way you should think. He wanted to kick the club on. He wanted to bring, obviously, players in, and he was given more money to spend. He let Gavin Peacock go that year, David Kelly went, Kevin Scott went, Killer went, myself. It came about, actually, about 6 or 7 months before I signed for Tranmere, they brought me down to. He asked me would I be interested. He just obviously said, I don't know whether you're going to figure this year. I said, okay, fine. So obviously if the manager says that you're going to speak to someone else, I went down and spoke to John King, and I was very close to signing in the August of that year, but my wife was pregnant and I didn't really want to leave her up on her own with 2 other kids and pregnant with the third one. So I said, I'll wait. I'll have a go. I'm after getting back into the Premier League. I want to see can I play in it. And lucky enough, I did. I played a few games for the club, and then the move came again. And in January, he rang me again, John King, and said, "Look, we're still interested if you want to come on board." So I wasn't really getting back. I'd only come back from injury, and I wasn't getting back in the team. I just said, look, I think it's time for a fresh move. So I enjoyed my time down there, Steve, to be honest with you. We were a good side. We were unlucky. We were in 3 playoff finals in a row, and to get to the Premier League, and they were a good set of lads, and they were good players, the likes of John Aldridge and Pat Nevin and Gary Stevens. You know, they were very close to getting into the Premier League. So we had a good team. So I enjoyed my time down there. It was a good little family club, you know.
Were you surprised Newcastle didn't win something under Kevin Keegan?
Yeah, very surprised, because as I said to you earlier on, he had a vision for the club. He was so close to winning it. When you're they were 12 points clear at one stage that year. Was it 95, 96 or 96, 97, whatever year it was? And they must, as a player, you'd feel yourself, all we have to do is keep going here. We're going to win this. But obviously it fell apart a little bit. Now, I don't know what that was down to, but it was. I never wanted the team to win as much as I did that year, you know, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. So hopefully it won't be too long before they do win something.